Grüß Gott, liebe Zuhörerinnen und Zuhörer. Ich bin Ulrike Stracker, Wirtschaftsdelegierte für Bulgarien und begrüße Sie zum Webinar Automotive Industrie Bulgarien und Rumänien. Gleich zu Beginn, wir werden das Webinar teils auf Deutsch und teils auf Englisch halten. Und ich begrüße nun meine Kolleginnen und Kollegen, Vortragenden. Zunächst einmal herzliches Grüß Gott an das AC Bukarest. Schönen Nachmittag.
Mihai Mark ist mein Name. Ich bin hier zuständig unter anderem für Automotive, werde gleich auch hinzu noch unseren Sprecher und vortragenden Gast, der ist der Leiter des Verbands der Automobilhersteller in Rumänien, Herr Adrian Sandu. Bis gleich.
Bis gleich, Dankeschön. Und nun möchte ich Herrn Lubo Stanislavov begrüßen. Lubo, you are the director of the Automotive Cluster in Bulgaria. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hello from my side. Yes, I'm the director of Bulgarian Automotive Cluster, and hopefully soon I'm sharing what has been achieved during the last years, and what is the map of the different companies involved in the automotive industry, so how you can find and connect with them, so you find your clients or your suppliers.
And then hello also to George Menzelopoulos of ETEM-Gestamp. Hello, George.
Hi, how are you?
Hello, good afternoon. Please give a short introduction.
From Bulgaria, from Sofia, and from ETEM-Gestamp, Extrusion and Automotive Company.
Thank you very much, and we'll hear your presentations later on.
Okay.
Meine sehr geehrten Damen und Herren, jetzt möchte ich, damit wir auch Sie ein bisschen kennenlernen, wir können Sie ja nicht sehen, liebe Zuhörerinnen und Zuhörer, und ich möchte Ihnen vorab ein paar Fragen stellen, 2, und wir können die Ergebnisse dann online gleich sehen, wenn Sie mitklicken. Bitte Sie uns zu sagen, ob Sie sich für Bulgarien, Rumänien oder für beide Länder interessieren. Und Sie können jetzt klicken. So, ja, hier kommt schon was rein. Oh, für Bulgarien haben wir leider niemanden, der sich interessiert im Moment. Allein für Bulgarien. Für beide Länder interessieren sich 83% und für Rumänien allein 17%. Na, das ist doch sehr erfreulich. Gehen wir zur nächsten Frage. Die nächste Frage, was suchen Sie? Was ist Ihr Interesse? Suchen Sie Endkunden in unseren Märkten, Vertriebspartner, Möglichkeiten zur Produktionsauslagerung oder einfach Marktinformation vorerst? Klicken Sie bitte jetzt. Also 85% der Befragten suchen Endkunden, 23% Vertriebspartner, 4% Möglichkeiten zur Produktauslagerung oder Produktionsauslagerung und 69% auch Marktinformation. Dankeschön für diese Information. I will maybe also mention this in English. Thank you. I would like to inform our presentators that 83% of the participants are interested in both our countries and 17% only in Romania. Thank you. And the interest regarding the market, 85% of the participating companies are looking for customers in our two countries, Romania and Bulgaria. 23% are looking for distribution partners. 4% are looking for a possibility to source parts into Bulgaria or Romania, and 69% are interested in market information. Thank you very much. Herzlichen Dank für diesen Überblick und danke fürs Mitmachen bei diesen Fragen. Dann komme ich jetzt als Wirtschaftsdelegierte zu Bulgarien und den Wirtschaftsbeziehungen mit Österreich. Wir haben ein Handelsvolumen, das über 1 Milliarde Euro liegt. Und wenn man die Dienstleistungen dazu rechnet, den Austausch von Dienstleistungen, dann sind wir bei über 2 Milliarden Euro. Wobei Österreich als Exportland von Waren im Plus liegt. Aber bei den Dienstleistungen ist Bulgarien voran und insgesamt ist die Leistungsbilanz mit Bulgarien seit 2016 leicht negativ. Das liegt an den vielen Dienstleistungen auch, die durch österreichische Tochterfirmen in Bulgarien an österreichische Firmen erbracht werden. Damit Sie sich was vorstellen können, bei den Dienstleistungen sprechen wir über Backoffice, über technische Planung, IT, aber auch über Spedition und gar nicht so sehr über den Tourismus, obwohl der natürlich auch eine Rolle spielt. Und Österreich ist in Bulgarien der zweitgrößte ausländische Investor. Das müssen Sie wissen, denn Österreich hat in Bulgarien ein Gewicht. Ich hätte das nicht angenommen, aber als ich nach Bulgarien kam, habe ich gemerkt, dass Österreich für Bulgarien ein Referenzland ist. Bulgarien schaut nach Österreich, was tut sich dort, nicht nur politisch oder wirtschaftlich, sondern auch, was sind die Entwicklungen am Markt. Man schätzt österreichische Qualität, auch wenn die natürlich einen gewissen Preis hat. Und dieser Preis ist manchmal für bulgarische Firmen schwierig zu stemmen. Das heißt, man muss als österreichische Firma, wenn man hier erfolgreich sein möchte, sehr gut kommunizieren, warum der Preis höher ist und welche Vorteile, zum Beispiel durch längere Nutzbarkeit von Produkten oder Dienstleistungen, welcher Vorteil gegeben ist. Ja, die österreichischen Firmen in Bulgarien sind zufrieden. 85% dieser Investoren würden noch einmal in Bulgarien investieren. Der Wirtschaftsstandort Bulgarien. Bulgarien ist in Österreich ein wenig bekanntes Land. Umso wichtiger scheint mir das zu erwähnen. Bulgarien ist seit 2007 EU-Mitglied und bietet alle diese Vorteile, die ein Partnerland, ein Handelspartnerland haben kann als EU-Mitglied. Es hat 7 Millionen Einwohner, also etwas weniger als Österreich, und bei der Arbeitslosigkeit ist natürlich jetzt in Corona-Zeiten wieder etwas mehr. Aber ansonsten ist es eher so, dass Arbeitskräfte, Facharbeitskräfte und Arbeitskräfte knapp sind in Bulgarien. Bulgarien bietet günstige Produktionskosten und hat eine 10% Körperschaftssteuer, die sehr attraktiv ist. Bulgarien liegt sehr gut angebunden. Es gibt mehrere Flüge zwischen Wien und Sofia. Jetzt natürlich wiederum in der Corona-Zeit etwas weniger, aber doch einige Flüge. Und Bulgarien hat den fixen Wechselkurs mit dem Euro. Seit Juli dieses Jahres ist der bulgarische Lev auch im Euro-Warteraum, also im ERM2. Das bedeutet, dass Bulgarien Euro-Kandidat ist und wahrscheinlich in 2 bis 3 Jahren den Euro annehmen kann, wenn es in diese Gemeinschaft aufgenommen wird. Zur Covid-Situation in Bulgarien. Die Lage ist nicht dramatisch, die Lage ist auch nicht ausgezeichnet, also ich würde sagen im Mittelfeld, und Österreich verlangt einen negativen PCR-Test, wenn man aus Bulgarien nach Österreich reist. Die Wirtschaft wird 2020, so wie in Österreich, circa um 8% zurückgehen. Manche von Ihnen werden sich fragen, weil Sie die Bilder im Fernsehen gesehen haben, wie es mit den Protesten weitergeht oder wie es mit der politischen Stabilität aussieht. In den letzten Jahren, muss man sagen, hat sich die Regierung stabil gehalten, und die Proteste haben jetzt nicht unmittelbar zu einem Regierungsrücktritt geführt. Man kann es nicht ausschließen, aber es sieht fast so aus, als ob die Regierung bis zu den regulären Wahlen im März 2021 bleiben könnte. Und das wäre für die Fortführung der Geschäfte natürlich von Interesse, denn in Bulgarien ist, wenn keine Regierung an der Macht ist, mit einer Übergangsregierung ist einfach Stillstand in vielen Bereichen. Die EU-Förderperiode, die nächste, die schon vor der Tür steht, erwähne ich deshalb, weil viele es werden natürlich viele Infrastrukturprojekte damit finanziert, aber für die Firmen ist es ganz wichtig, ein Mittel, um Innovationen zu finanzieren, wenn sie sich diese Innovationen sonst nicht leisten könnten. Und das gibt einen Schub, einen Modernisierungsschub für die bulgarische Industrie. Und das gibt auch die Möglichkeit für ihre Kunden, für ihre potenziellen Kunden, ihre Produkte oder Dienstleistungen zu kaufen. Und daher ist es für Sie auch relevant zu wissen, welche Förderungen diesen bulgarischen potenziellen Kunden zur Verfügung stehen. Nun zum Thema des heutigen Nachmittags, bulgarische Automotive Industrie. Die ist relativ stark. Es gibt zwar keine Autoproduktion in Bulgarien, aber es gibt eine rege Zulieferindustrie, die circa 11% des BIP erwirtschaftet und die also ein wichtiger Arbeitgeber ist. 260 Automotive-Zulieferer gibt es und die sind in verschiedenen Bereichen tätig, IT oder Elektronik, Metallverarbeitung oder auch Textilindustrie. Und es sind nicht nur Produktionsbetriebe, sondern es geht auch um Entwicklungszentren in verschiedenen Bereichen, ob wir jetzt da über Visteon sprechen oder Bosch, die solche Entwicklungszentren hier einrichten. Ein Schwerpunkt dieser Industrie ist auch das autonome Fahren. Und hiermit wechsle ich jetzt wieder ins Englische, um unseren nächsten Vortragenden vorzustellen oder wieder zu begrüßen, zurückzuholen. Lubo Stanislavov, you are the head of the Bulgarian Automotive Cluster, and you will give us a bit more of insight what Bulgaria has to offer in the automotive industry and what possible partners there are for Austrian companies in this field. Lubo, I will hand to you.
Yeah, hello from my side. So I have a lot of slides, but I will try to go through them quickly and give you as much information as it's possible. Yes, this is a general overview of the country. I think you receive enough information from Frau Straka. But yes, Bulgaria is one of the most or the most stable from economical and political point of view country in the region. Yes, also Bulgaria has actually, this is a little bit outdated now. Bulgaria now has the best ratio between debt and GDP. So actually, in that perspective, Bulgaria is doing better than Germany and Austria also. Yes, also the country, Bulgaria has the best credit rating in the region. And this is something that we should not be really proud, but yes, this is also true. The level of the wages of the salaries is the lowest one in the European Union. Currently, Bulgaria is basically competing with China. That's the picture from the founding of the automotive cluster in 2012. So this was just 8 years ago. And at that time, these were the numbers. So the automotive industry in Bulgaria was doing €500 million turnover. The number of employed people were less than 9,000. There were around 30 companies, only one R&D center. And all this was less than 1% from the country's GDP. 8 years later, we have the following results. 6.5 billion euro turnover in 2018. 2019 is actually bigger. Already we have 67,000 people employed in the industry. Of course, the COVID situation slowed a bit the development, but I think some of the companies are now back on track. But I think Frau Straka talked enough about the COVID situation. Luckily, our country is doing in general well. Actually, the number of the companies currently is already more than 270. And we have 28 R&D centers, which is more than between 11 and 12% from from the country's GDP. This is in maps. So this was the situation in 2000. So you see almost no companies. 2010, it's better, but still very few companies. And this is in 2019. Later on, you will see we have updated version of the map for 2020, but you clearly see the two main centers of the automotive industry. So one is around Sofia and the other one is around Plovdiv. And of course, other centers are, smaller centers are forming around other cities. Few examples which are divided in two main categories. So one is R&D and the other is production. Maybe before starting with the R&D, I just want to mention that we started from a very low position because in Bulgaria during the communist period, its automotive industry was basically forbidden. So we supposed not to develop this industry. On the contrary, Bulgaria had to develop at that time tourism, agriculture, and most importantly, software and hardware industry, which is now helping a lot with the IT development and with the R&D development of the automotive industry. You will see in seconds, and these are just some numbers which summarize that we have a lot of expertise and a lot of people in the field of software and electronics in Bulgaria. Yes, currently we have already the first 5G lab, which will be operational very soon in Sofia Tech Park. And this is crucial for developing vehicles with autonomous driving features. Actually, this laboratory is developing like 100 meters away from the Bosch office, Bosch Automotive R&D Center in Sofia. And on the other side of the same center in Sofia Tech Park, currently it's building the new supercomputer. This is one of the 8 in Europe, which the European Union is doing in different places inside the European Union. And yes, we have a project together with the Bulgarian government for developing a test facility for testing and creating autonomous vehicles, because we think that this is one of the fields where Bulgaria could be very profitable in the future. Some examples, Vistion, it was mentioned from Frau Strache. You know that just 2 weeks ago, Mercedes-Benz launched the new Mercedes S-Class, and point number 1 in the press release, like the most important innovation for this vehicle, was the new MBUX system, MBUX2. This was almost 100% developed in Sofia, so we are really proud what this engineering center with more than 1,000 engineers is doing in the last 5-6 years. I already mentioned Bosch. So Bosch from Sofia is already managing they're managing the so-called interior autonomous driving features. So these are all of those systems which will be mandatory from the end of next year. If you want to sell a vehicle in Europe, you have to have those inside cameras which are following the status of the driver and the passengers. And for Bosch, all of those systems will be developed and monitored from Sofia. Yeah, I'm sure that Mr. Menzelopoulos will talk a lot about their company, but this is one of the companies that we are really proud with. So they developed one of the best technologies for aluminium, for battery boxes, for companies like BMW, Porsche, and Jaguar. Sensata is actually the biggest company in Bulgaria in terms of turnover, and the second biggest in terms of number of employed people. They have 2 factories and 1 big R&D center, and they Actually, these are the only production locations of them in Europe. Currently they produce high temperature sensors and high pressure sensors. But what we know from them that they are currently moving other production of other components of them from China and some other places near Europe. So Bulgaria will be a major production location for them in the region. Melexis, this is again history which is coming from a long period ago. So Melexis is producing computer chips mainly for the automotive industry. So for example, all of the LED interior lighting, which is changing the colors in the new modern vehicles, every vehicle which has this feature has at least one computer chip coming from this factory again in Sofia. And lastly, but not least, is Festo. Festo has a very long production tradition in Bulgaria, but since 2 years they started building their first R&D center, which is outside of Germany. So for the first time, they decided to start developing electronics outside Germany, and this is an idea of their new CEO. Production. Again, very quickly, Yazaki is the biggest company in terms of number of people. They have 3 factories in Bulgaria, and one of them is already specialized in cable harnesses only for high voltage cables for electric vehicles. Hanon System, this is the former Magna company. It's one of the oldest also. They are producing oil pumps and many other components. This company is growing and investing even at the moment. Kostal is probably the fastest developed company. It's a German company for plastic interior elements. I think for 2.5 years, 3 years, they had been able to grow from almost 300 people to 4,000. So it is a really impressive company and what they are doing. BHTC, actually one of the companies Kostal is supplying is BHTC, and they are also highly successful in the area of Sofia. And another company, Standard Profile, for complete ceilings. This is one of the biggest employers in the middle part of Bulgaria. Yeah, additionally, what I wanted to share with you is what we had did 5 years ago. We had produced the first automotive map. Since then, we are updating this, and suddenly at some point, the Ministry of Economy, the Bulgarian Ministry of Economy, happens that this is the only map that they have, and they are showing to many different investors and companies who are interested to found their partners. And then we sit down with them and we say, okay, if you like what we did for the automotive industry, let's do this for other industries, as already other industries are merging with the automotive industry. At that point, we were thinking mainly about IT. But at the end, we finalized with 14 different industries, and next week we will discuss other industries. But I want to share some of those maps with you, and those maps are, you can go and have them also on the internet, so you can download. There is also interactive map which you can use. This was done by this new employers organization, which was created by the automotive cluster in Bulgaria, but it's not important for this presentation. So these are the different industries that we work with. And this is this interactive map, but I will just show you the final results. So this is the automotive map for 2020. Based on the number of employees, you see that the number of employees is already more than 67,000. And the other interesting thing that we see is that more and more companies are concentrating their activities now around Sofia, which I think it's normal because Sofia is already more than 2 million people. This is the same map, but it's based on the turnover, and then you see that even more of the turnover in the industry is concentrated in Sofia. So actually what we see that for the last 5 years, Sofia became bigger than Plovdiv. And these are the companies. Actually, in the digital version, you can scroll down and go to a specific company. So you can see the contact data and the main numbers of this industry. Another industry which is really important for us, every new investor, every new company in the country is asking for that. This is the educational industry, and this is mainly the technical and high education. So you see where the main centers, it's again Sofia, Plovdiv, Varna, and Stara Zagora and Burgas, where you can find enough universities and schools, professional schools. This is the same based on turnover. Then energy industry, actually we divided, this is a traditional industry for Bulgaria. So you see the number of employed people is more than 50,000, but the turnover is close to 13.5 billion euro. Then scroll to the last slide so I can show you where you can access those data. And I think, of course, if you have questions, do not hesitate to contact me directly. We can connect you, or we can look for potential partners or customers or clients for your companies. The renewable energy, because we receive a lot of questions. Is it possible that my factory in Bulgaria could be carbon neutral? And the answer is yes, it is possible. So bgindustriesmap.com, this is the place where you can download or access digitally this information. Sorry if I was too long.
No, it's very interesting, of course, and we would love to listen more. Thank you, Lubo Stanislavov. Stay with us for the questions. So again, I would like to ask our listeners to ask their questions through the chat window. And now I would like to ask George Mentzelopoulos of ETEM-Gestamp to tell us something about the company. What does it do? What are you doing on the market in Bulgaria? Who are your partners worldwide, and how do you think you might want to cooperate with Austrian companies? George Mentzelopoulos, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Hello also from my side, from ETEM-Gestamp. Here is the logo of the company. We are a joint venture. I would like to say some few words about our company, our organization. ETEM is a well-known company in the area of extrusion. Comes from ETEM Greece, which was established in early 1970. And also we have the Bulgarian plant from 1999. The last 10 years we invest a lot here in Bulgaria, and we move also the automotive to the Bulgaria plant. And in April 2019, we entered into a joint venture with a big automotive group, which is the Spanish Gestamp group. Gestamp is a group of which is worldwide leaders in the area of stamping. They have more than 100 plants worldwide, and some more which are under development, under construction. They have also in Gestamp 12, and with our new one, the one more in Shanghai 13, and with our R&D 14 R&D centers worldwide. In which Gestamp develops new products and offers final solutions to the OEMs. Gestamp product portfolio is more or less everywhere. There are different cars in body and white, in chassis, and also with 100% subsidiary of Gestamp in the area of handbrakes, power systems, pedal hitches, and door checks. The other partner of the group is Viohalco. Viohalco is the biggest industrial group in the area of Greece, which was established early of 1930s. The group has Viohalco Group has a turnover of 4.4 billion, and they invest a lot in different segments. They are in 8 different business segments, 21 different market shares, and more than 80 years of history, providing a wide range of products and solutions tailored to our customer needs. You can see where exactly Viohalco Group is worldwide, with manufacturing sites in 8 different countries, and also a strong commercial network in 21 countries worldwide. Our plant, the extrusion plant, the plant that we have here in Bulgaria, we have 4 extrusion lines, out of 2 dedicated to the automotive and 1 more which is under installation. We have 3 presses now for the automotive, 8, 9, and 11 inch, and we have also a provision for 1 more for specific projects and 1 more press, and 2 more presses at the moment, maybe the 1 in the future for non-automotive profiles. We produce any kind of profile for automotive industry and non-automotive applications. And we produce any product for the automotive industry which is related with the extrusion parts, like chassis, battery trays, crash systems, and body and wire. Via the new joint venture that we have with Gestamp, we focus mainly in new aluminium extrusion products, mainly in electric cars. Recently, we have 3 big projects with JLR, BMW, and Porsche for battery trays, and we're fighting for the market for some more projects, which we expect to have the full extrusion and machining. We'll have actually the full extrusion and machining for all this kind of projects here in Bulgaria. Means we are going to extrude and machine all the kind of parts, and we're going to send for the final assembly, welding and assembly to Gestamp plants at different sites in Europe for the final installation. Also, we have some other projects for current projects with BMW, Audi, Mercedes, and JLR for bumpers, for chassis parts, for battery trays, and also for some other safety parts which we deliver machine to the OEMs. We are tier 1 and tier 2 supplier, which depends on the project. And actually, we are one of the few companies which is certified by the most important players in the market for crash relevant profiles. We are certified from BMW, Audi, and Mercedes, and the same also for JLR for crash application, starting from C20 up on C32. And we ETEM each one of the few companies, and when we start this, we were just only 5 companies in Europe certified for this kind of special parts and special profiles, and we were actually before 2 years the first company which was certified from BMW for the last release for crash profiles. Means the know-how that we have with the company, it's very important. It's which help us to produce and to deliver to the high end of the market value-added products, and we produce here in Bulgaria products to the most difficult and expensive cars which are in the European market, and not only. You have to know also that we export from Bulgaria for the automotive industry, not only to Europe, but we export also to US, Mexico, and China. There are some parts which, because of the quality and the additional characteristics which are requested, it's better for the for the OEMs to buy the materials from Europe and to secure the quality instead to produce the material somewhere else worldwide. We have these 3 projects at the moment, which we're going to start deliveries step by step from 2021, which are on the top of the current projects that we have for the automotive industry. We are going to invest in extrusion facilities, but also we invest in projects for specific machines, which are dedicated for any new projects which we have and we're getting from the market. We believe now with the joint venture of Gestamp, we will have a very strong company, a very strong network, and we are in a position to deliver to the high end of the market very difficult and on a very competitive conditions materials for the most growing market, which is the electric cars. That's from my side. I tried to spend just a few minutes as it was requested on the beginning in order to have all of us time to present themselves. If you need something, I'm available.
Thank you very much, George. This was extremely interesting, especially to understand that you are focusing on the high end of the market, that both of the original companies, Viohalco and Gestamp, are really have a very international setup. And of course, there's no denying that you come from Greece, not only your name, but also yes, listening to you. And thank you very much for giving.
Actually, I have to say that I joined Viohalco Group in 1996. I would like to say that I joined Viohalco Group in 1996. I have moved to different companies and responsibilities. And when I moved in 2010 to ETEM, the automotive was just a small part of the company out of any focus. And altogether, we succeeded to build up this organization, this company, in a very difficult period. The last 10 years, the last actually 8 years that we passed with all this kind of difficulties in our area, in Balkan area in total, in general. But I have to say that I'm very proud to what we succeeded together as an organization and as a team. And thank you for the invitation.
Thank you very much for taking part. Stay with us for a while for the questions. And I would now like to, stay with us, but we will click ourselves away when we hand over now to our colleagues from Romania. Liebe Kollegen im AC Bukarest, ich übergebe und wir starten den Rumänien-Teil. Danke.
Wir sind dran. Vielen Dank auch von meiner Seite. Mihai Mark ist mein Name. Ich vertrete hier das Außenwirtschaftscenter in Bukarest, bin unter anderem auch für Automotive-Anfragen und dergleichen hier zuständig. Vielen Dank nochmal für die Einführung. Auch von meiner Seite versuche ich so ein bisschen zuerst ein Allgemeinbild, einen Überblick über den rumänischen Markt zu liefern, zu präsentieren, vor allem auch über die österreichische Präsenz hier im Lande, damit Sie so ein Gefühl dafür bekommen, wie die Wirtschaft derzeit sich entwickelt, vor allem auch, und damit möchte ich auch kurz anfangen, es ist nicht nur eine Randnotiz, sondern auch wichtig, wir feiern auch dieses Jahr 70 Jahre der bilateralen Wirtschaftsbeziehungen zwischen Rumänien und Österreich. Also seit Mai 1950 gibt es dieses Büro, also nicht dieses hier tatsächlich, aber die Präsenz der Außenwirtschaft und Advantage Austria in Rumänien, also und als 5. Büro weltweit sagt es schon etwas aus, dass Rumänien doch ein wichtiger Markt ist und auch bleibt. Also nach dem Motto, wir sind gekommen, um zu bleiben. Die österreichischen Unternehmen sind hier doch stark aufgestellt mit etwa 3.400 insgesamt österreichischen Unternehmen, davon etwa rund 1.500 aktiv, die auch wirklich 100.000 Angestellte, also Mitarbeiter haben, also schon solide aufgestellt mit einem bilateralen Handelsvolumen von rund 4 Milliarden Euro. Also das hat sich jetzt wirklich in den letzten 2 Jahren dort eingepegelt bei etwa 2,5 Milliarden die österreichischen Exporte Richtung Rumänien und auch wiederum Importe aus Rumänien von 1,5 Milliarden. Gewisse Einbüßen werden wir oder wird der Markt dann auch verkraften müssen, etwa bisher ja schon 16% Minus für das erste Halbjahr in Rumänien, für die österreichischen Exporte nach Rumänien. Aber das wird sich höchstwahrscheinlich, so die Vermutungen, erstmal ab Ende 2021, also hoffentlich ab nächstes Jahr dann wieder ein bisschen erholen. Nochmal zur österreichischen Präsenz von den 3.400 großen Unternehmen beziehungsweise 1.500 aktiv. Davon sind viele auch wirklich Marktführer hier in Rumänien. Wir haben die ganze Bandbreite von Rohstoff- und Verarbeitungsindustrie, Finanzdienstleistungen und Versicherungen, wie auch Groß- und Einzelhandel, Bauwirtschaft und Landwirtschaft. Es ist wirklich alles auch dabei. Leider, da wir beim Thema Automotive sind, ist hier die österreichische Präsenz doch nicht so stark, eigentlich eher nur am Rande. Zur rumänischen Wirtschaft 3-4 Worte. Es waren wirklich 3 solide Jahre hier mit stetigem Wachstum. 2017 wirklich 7%, die stärkste, glaube ich, war Rumänien dort in der Europäischen Union. Dann wiederum etwa 4,4 und dann 4,1% bis letztes Jahr. Für dieses Jahr ein Minus von 6% im ersten Halbjahr. Also die Hoffnung, dass sich dann auch die Wirtschaft 2021, die viele hier Anfang des Jahres geäußert haben, halten wir doch eher für unrealistisch. Es wird noch eine Weile dauern wiederum. Aber insgesamt für 6% pro Jahresabschluss ist eigentlich doch nicht so wild. Hohes Risiko ist derzeit für Rumänien. Wir hatten gerade Kommunalwahlen. Es kommen noch auf uns zu die Parlamentswahlen in Rumänien. Da weiß man auch, es ist auch so ein bisschen Wahljahr. Da sind ja auch die Parteien auch ein bisschen versuchen, links und rechts mit ein paar Zuschüssen und Subventionen ihre Wählerschaft zu motivieren. Also das ist wiederum auch ein wirklich Risiko für den Haushalt. Und das eine Zahl, die uns auch hier ein bisschen Sorgen schafft, ist, was wir neulich in den Nachrichten gelesen haben, sind etwa von den Einkünften, also im Staatshaushalt, da gehen wirklich rund 90% für die Zahlung der Gehälter der Staatsbediensteten und des öffentlichen Rentensystems. Da bleibt auch leider wenig Spielraum und Freiraum eben für Investitionen. Allerdings werden dort auch doch die Entscheidungen getroffen seitens der Regierung, Zuschüsse und EU-Gelder weiter nach Rumänien zu holen, um eben gewaltige und starke Investitionen in den kommenden 1-2 Jahren durchzuführen. Um einiges, wir waren hier bei den Minuspunkten. Es gibt auch definitiv auch starke Punkte für den rumänischen Markt allgemein. Wie schon erwähnt, Wachstum bisher, der wird auch in der Tat auch wirklich dann wieder zurückkommen. Wir gehen stark davon aus, es gibt die Flat Tax hier in Rumänien derzeit bei 10%. Einkommenssteuer, das ist eine der niedrigsten in Europa überhaupt. EU-Gelder und Mittel, also Förderungen stehen da offen in Milliardenhöhe für Rumänien. Natürlich, je nachdem, für welche Bereiche sind dann auch zum Beispiel Bildung, Ausstattung, die können auch abgerufen werden für neue Investitionen. Sollten Sie da Fragen haben, schreiben Sie uns ruhig an. Wir helfen gerne und stehen mit Rat und Tat zur Seite für Unterstützung. Die Chancen, die wir hier sehen, generell herrscht hier eine Offenheit gegenüber ausländischen Investitionen, nicht nur Österreich, aber generell auch zu Österreich und vor allem seit dem Anfang der 90er Jahren hier stark etabliert. Also ein offenes Ohr und offene Türen, davon können Sie ausgehen seitens der Regierung und auch auf Kommunalebene. Da hier und da Probleme gibt es in der Infrastruktur, höchstwahrscheinlich relativ ähnlich zur Lage auch in Bulgarien. Aber auch das gehen wir davon stark aus, wird sich in den kommenden 2-3 Jahren doch stark verbessern. Eine Sache möchte ich auch erwähnen, das ist auch wirklich ähnlich wie zur Lage auch in Bulgarien, wie auch Frau Schrake vorhin erwähnt hat, die Tatsache, dass ja die Fachkräfte doch fehlen. Das sieht man auch im Automotive-Bereich, das wird dann aber auch Herr Zandu heute eingeladen dazu vortragen, aber ich möchte es kurz erwähnen. Ja, es wird immer schwieriger, Fachleute zu kriegen. Es bedeutet mehr Arbeit. Es sind noch viele wirklich Auslandsrumänien mit, glaube ich, 3,5 oder 4 Millionen, die im Ausland leben, laut der Weltbank. Also es wird immer schwieriger und die Bandbreite an Fachkräften zu kriegen, auch für die Automotive Industrie, ist hier relativ gering. Wie dem auch sei, ich glaube, so im Großen und Ganzen haben Sie ein Bild dafür, wie jetzt derzeit die Wirtschaft in Rumänien ist, wie stark die österreichische Präsenz auch ist und dazu noch, wie gesagt, egal welche Probleme, Fragen, Marktrecherchen, Personal Sie haben, schreiben Sie uns an, bukarest.wko.at. Wir versuchen die Fragen so gut wie möglich und so schnell wie möglich zu lösen. Gut, wie schon erwähnt, die österreichische Präsenz im Bereich Automotive ist doch sehr gering, hält sich in Grenzen. Allerdings gibt es dafür sehr viel Diversität in dem Bereich. Das sieht man hier ganz schön an dem Slide. Sie können sehen von Sitzen und Elektrik, Kabel, Leuchten, Scheinwerfer, Lenkräder, Kühlungen, Auspuff und Federung. Da gibt es in Rumänien wirklich einen Produzenten für all diese Produkte. Also sollten Sie da einsteigen wollen oder sind am Überlegen, wie schon erwähnt, schreiben Sie uns. Und das ist ja, wie gesagt, ein Bild, um zu sehen, damit Sie einen Einblick dafür gewinnen, wie divers doch der Markt eigentlich ist und was man so alles eigentlich im Bereich Automotive Rumänien auch produziert. So viel von meiner Seite. Ich würde jetzt gerne auch weiter übergeben an unseren Gast heute, der eigentlich die Automotive-Industrie, da halten wir uns eher raus und holen uns einen Experten eher zur Seite, der präsentieren möchte. Das ist der Herr Adrian Sandu. Er vertritt den Verband der rumänischen Automobilhersteller bzw. der Automobilzuliefererindustrie. Heute ist Generalsekretär und wird uns ein bisschen erzählen, wie der Markt eigentlich derzeit aussieht. All right, so I'm going to switch to English now. Mr. Sandu, you have the floor. I introduced you and we're going to tell us a little bit how the automotive industry looks like in Romania.
Hello, my name is Adrian Sandu and I'm representing today in front of you the Association of Automotive Manufacturers of Romania. I'm Secretary General. I have a 20 years experience in the automotive sector, and for 15 years I'm Secretary General in ACAROM, the Association of Automotive Manufacturers in Romania. Our industry, I will present you some figures about our industry, our sector in Romania, how it is developed and what it means for the national economy. So we have at this moment around 640 companies with more than 240,000 direct employees. I have to mention that these are only OEMs, Tier 1 and Tier 2 suppliers. The Tier 3 suppliers are much there is a much larger figure for Tier 3 suppliers. The total turnover for the automotive industry last year was around 41 billion euros. It's an increase of 11% compared to 2018, out of which the components and assembly parts are representing 21.7 billion euros. So you can see that we have an important network of suppliers in Romania. In fact, you can find in Romania any kind of part you need to build a vehicle, except at this moment electric batteries. But we also have an investment for a plant of electric batteries here near Bucharest, and which will be in full capacity next year. The share of total GDP of Romania for the automotive industry is 14%, which is the largest industrial sector in Romania. The passenger car production is around 490,000 units, plus 3% compared to 2018. And Romania was 8th place in the European Union last year. I have to mention that we have only passenger car production. In the past, we also had buses and truck production. 12 of top Tier 1, 15 global suppliers have production facilities in Romania, and not only, you will see later that they also have R&D capabilities. The total export is 19 billion euros. Romania is an important base of production for parts and assemblies, which are exported to Western plants in Western Europe for all the manufacturers. The top 3 export companies are Dacia, Ford, and Daimler. I'm showing you now the biggest player, biggest player in Romania. The biggest one is Dacia, which has a vehicle assembly plant in Mioveni. but also mechanical and chassis plant. You can see here the capacities which are installed in this plant, but there is also something interesting. There is a logistic platform which can deliver and which delivers to other Renault plants in Europe, but not only, also in Russia, Iran, Morocco, South Africa, and South America. They are delivering components for Renault and Dacia vehicles to be assembled in those plants. So the vehicle plant capacity is 350,000 vehicles per year, but you can see that the mechanical and chassis plant has larger capacity for engines, gearboxes, and also chassis. I'm proud to say that this plant is exporting gearboxes to Japan. So the technical level of this plant is high, very high. The second player in the Romanian automotive industry is Ford, which has a plant in Craiova. Now it manufactures two types of vehicles. One is two models. One is EcoSport, and the other one is the new SUV launch Puma. The total capacity installed is 300,000 units per year, and there is also a mechanical plant that manufactures around 300,000 engines per year. The two plants are 120 kilometers away from each other in the south part of Romania. Concerning the repartition of supplier in Romania, you can see here only a couple of names, but of course we couldn't display those 330 companies. Those are the most important ones, and they are located in the majority in the western side of the country, because they are close to Western Europe, but also in the southern part of the country, close to Dacia and Ford plants. As I said before, 14 of the top 15 global suppliers are present in Romania. You can see here what they are doing. They have 1, 2, or many plants, 5, 6 plants. For example, Continental is the largest employee in Romania with more than 20,000 employees at this moment. And it has 7 plants and 2 R&D centers. So you can imagine the dimension of the network of suppliers. And you can see here, Romania isn't proud only by the network of suppliers, but also the network of R&D in the automotive industry. So we have especially Renault, which has in Romania the second largest facility in the global network of Renault Nissan in Europe, except the one in Paris. So the second one is in Titu, which is 50 kilometers away from Bucharest, and Pitești, which is where is the plant of Mioven. We have Continental, as I said before, with many R&D activities: Siemens, Delphi, Porsche, Bosch, Hella, Schaeffler, and not only. There are 14 technical universities in Romania which have a lot of cooperation with Romanian automotive industry. You can imagine that there are almost no counties. Romania has 41 counties as territorial organization, and there is almost no county without automotive industry in it. So it's a widely spread industry in Romania. Concerning the car market, the production, of course, we had 2 months of pandemic, March and April, and it dropped by 22%, but we are still at a level of 247,000 units. The registration also dropped to do the restrictions, travel restrictions, and we have to recognize a problem with the used car which are imported from Western Europe and registered in Romania. But the top 3 models sold on the market, you can see, are Logan, Sandero, and Duster. Dacia, all made by Dacia. And there is an important information I want to share with you. The market for spare parts, which are used at the car shops, it's around 1.6 billion euro per year. So this could be also an interesting point for new investment. We as an association, we have more than 170 members. We are gathering Dacia, Ford, as you can see on the slide, but also other suppliers, a lot of other suppliers. We have also an Austrian company which is called Voestalpine, which I personally supported them to come in Romania and invest in Romania. They are now near Giurgiu, and they have a plan for metal sheets. Since 2006, we have an European representation. We are members of the European Automotive Manufacturers Association, and I'm the representative of this of the Romanian Association in this European context. Which are our priorities? Education. I heard my colleague from Bulgaria also mention education. We want to have dual education, vocational schools, universities, R&D, support for R&D, incentives, but not only incentives, also cooperation for R&D. The second priority is car market. Of course, we want to have a car market which develops on the strong basis. Okay, infrastructure, all type of infrastructure, road, railways. We have Danube and also Black Sea, but we also want to have informational infrastructure in order to support the companies to make the best choices. And the fourth one, which I want to share with you, is we launched last year a program which is called Local Integration of Parts and Suppliers in Romania. I will show you what it means. The main goal of this program is to attract in Romania companies to deliver to Dacia, Ford, and big Tier 1 suppliers components which are now manufactured in other countries. I cannot say if they are manufactured in Austria, but there are a lot of other countries which are delivering components to the plants of Dacia and Ford in Romania. So as a first step, Dacia and Ford already provided us with a list of components and also samples. We have made an exhibition in our headquarters in order to show the components which are available for externalization, for sourcing in Romania. This is a list, a primary list. Of course, this list is changing every week because we are finding new suppliers and we are in talk with new suppliers, but we are also adding to the list other components. So this could be an opportunity for a company which want to invest in Romania. Okay. This concludes my presentation. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I'm here and I can answer your questions. Thank you very much for your invitation again.
Thank you as well, Mr. San. Before we step up and give it back to the floor to the colleagues in Sofia, maybe one question from my side or our side, since we are trying a little, since you mentioned the dual education or programs, vocational programs. The question is regarding this research or such educational programs, are there possibilities as an association or at least on the employer side to get EU funds for this education, to invest in them in the next 2 or 3 or 4 years?
Yeah, thank you for this question. We already, in our association, we already launched 2 programs. One is intended to support small and medium enterprises to increase their research capabilities, buying equipment and also testing equipment, R&D, but also testing equipment. And the second one is to support the university, which have a lot of testing and R&D capabilities, technical universities, to get in contact closer and closer to the real needs of the automotive industry. So in fact, at the end, we should have a more closer cooperation and more results which can be applied in the production.
Great. So as you see, we're working on it, struggling. Everybody's trying to do their best. This is from our side in Romania. As Mr. Sandu said, if you have any questions, there you have the information of contact. If not, you can write to us to the office, and I'll put you through, and we'll connect you to him. Back to you in Sofia. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mikhail. Thank you, Mr. Sandu. So we've concluded with the presentations. Ich wechsle wieder ins Deutsche und möchte Sie bitten als Teilnehmerinnen und Teilnehmer, dass Sie uns Fragen schicken. Zwei Fragen sind hereingekommen, nämlich Fragen nach Investitionen. Which are the planned investments of automotive companies in Bulgaria and in Romania? So Lubo on the one hand and Mr. Sandu on the other, maybe you can tell us what big investments are coming up.
Hello from my side again. So of course we are not allowed to talk about future investments, but yes, it's true that Bulgaria currently is discussing a potential investments. I can tell you only that it's in the field of the battery production, like I heard for Romania, field of electric buses, and we had a big discussion about a huge potential new R&D center. But I really cannot talk more about that because this would be speculation. You know that last year there was a big discussion with the Volkswagen company, which ended in a way for Turkey, but then the project in Turkey was cancelled. And to be honest with you, I personally believe that this story is not still finished. So this is what I can talk about future activities.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Maybe it's not only about investments that would only come in, maybe it's also about investments of companies that are already present in Bulgaria or in Romania and are planning some enlargement.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. Actually, I'm sure that Mr. Mancelopoulos can talk about that also, because they are finishing the biggest extrusion line on the Balkans at the moment. So maybe he can talk about their new production facility.
George, are you still there? Would you come and talk? You mentioned that you were hello again. You mentioned you have some increasing, some enlargement of the extrusion facilities planned.
Yes, as I mentioned before, now we are on the final step, and upon the end of the year, will be fully functional. The new press by SMS Germany and OMA, which is a subsidiary of SMS of 11-inch, is the biggest press in our area, fully dedicated for automotive business, for the coming projects which are on the pipeline. And also in parallel, we install a lot of machines, also from Austrian companies. We install machine centers from FIL here. FIL, F-I-L-L.
Okay.
And not only, in order to proceed with the machining of all these kind of profiles that we are going to produce and deliver for all projects. And also in 2021, we are going to, the investment plan that we have currently is around 35 million euro. And we are going to proceed further with additional investments which are dedicated for the coming projects. And we expect to have an amount which is close to the same for the new coming projects which are on the pipeline, projects that we have on hand or also projects that we are targeting in. Because as mentioned before, all our investments are fully dedicated for specific projects. Means having a project on hand, we have to proceed and to invest for specific machines and production facilities. That's the strategy of the group and the strategy of the company. We're not invest just having a kind of capacity or whatever. It's a specific. We're talking for specific investments.
And
just like this one.
Right, we understand. And have you been in contact with Austrian companies? Are Austrian companies among your suppliers in the group?
Yeah. Yes, we are.
Okay.
We use also Austrian companies, and we have also very good connections and cooperation in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And not only for machining, we have also for billets, we have also some other parts that we buy, consumables, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me pass on to Romania. Mihai or Mr. Sandu, what are some of the investments planned in Romania?
So I will start in the automotive industry continental. Already launched a new R&D center in Timișoara, and it's expected to increase capacity for sensors in other plants they have in Romania. But we also are glad that we do not lose production capacity in this period of pandemic. For example, Dacia and Ford plants are working at 100% capacity. Ford increased their capacity and their production with the new model Puma, and also the suppliers which are linked to those two companies increased their production. Of course, we will have to adapt. The automotive industry was affected in Europe. Around 25% of the sales were lost in Europe. I saw also a figure this morning: 3.7 million vehicles were not manufactured in Europe this year. This is a forecast. So you can see there was a drop. So there will be an adapting production level during this period. But we are confident that the market will go up again and will have the same level as last year. We'll also have some positive news. Our government is fully supporting the industry, the automotive industry, but also other sectors. They took a lot of good measures during this pandemic and after the pandemic in order to support the employees, but also the companies which had problems during this period. And we also have in place a lot of programs to support new investments, a lot of programs to support investment in education, in R&D, and a lot of European funds available for the development of the industrial sector in Romania.
Yes, thank you very much. Another question, where can we find out more about the conditions for the EU funds for the new period 21 to 27? And let me answer this for Bulgaria. Bulgaria will present a program or a draft of how it wants to use the EU funds in this period, and will present the plan to the European Commission in October. And by January, Bulgaria should have an answer from the EU Commission whether this is okay or whether they need to make changes. So we are already looking at February 2021 to give more information and to have another webinar regarding EU funding for Bulgaria. In Romania, the situation, how is the situation, Mihai? Is it similar?
But definitely there are signs. Thanks for the questions. There are signs of investment. Of course, in general, EU funds is a main thing for the Romanian economy, depending on either studies, as I already mentioned, either education or new plants, new developments. It's a main thing, definitely. And there are signs from the Ministry of European funds to pose some problems. But as I said already, 2020 was a double election. It still is a double election year. First, we had the local elections last weekend, and now the general elections are still about to come. And that they're not really, let's put it this way, the EU funds not in the focus, but there are signs from the Ministry of European Affairs or European funding to post some measures regarding automotive. Would you any other things to add?
We also are in talks with the Romanian government. They announced in the first stage that Romania has an allocated total budget of around 80 billion euros for European funds that will be allocated to the whole economy, not only for the automotive industry. And we are in talks with the Ministry of European Funds. It's a special ministry to manage all the funds which are coming from the European Union. So we will see during the next period which are the main topics that will generate this new business.
Maybe we will team up again on March or April when we know exactly in which direction this will flow.
Okay. Mihai, stay here. There's another question regarding Romania. Is there a plan to connect Bucharest with the western part of the country by highway?
Yeah, I can.
We've been having this plan for ages, but please, Mr. Sander, I think.
Yeah, I can give you some updates. Last week, I took part to the signing of the contract for feasibility, not for feasibility, for designing and building another corridor from Pitești to Râmnicu Vâlcea. So you know, from Bucharest there is a highway to Pitești, then there is a gap from Pitești to Sibiu, and then we have highway until the end of the Romania, until to the Western Europe. So this corridor will be finished in the 4 to 5 years maximum as a highway.
Okay. All right. There's another question that came in. How can we get in touch with potential customers? And this is something that I can answer for Bulgaria. We invite you to get in touch with us. Liebe Zuhörerinnen und Zuhörer, wir sind als Außenwirtschaftscenter Sofia und sicherlich die Kollegen in Bukarest auch für Sie da und können die potenziellen Kunden für Sie selektieren und Sie mit ihnen in Kontakt bringen. Wir machen auch, wenn Sie reiselustig sind, trotz Corona, wir machen Ihnen auch Termine aus und begleiten Sie. Let me ask all our colleagues to come back online just for a goodbye, because I have no more questions at this point.
Vielleicht noch von mir, bis alle sich noch mal kurz einschalten. Natürlich gilt das Gleiche auch für das Bukarester Büro. Schreiben Sie uns das so detailliert wie möglich, was Ihre Anliegen sind, wen Sie treffen möchten oder welche Ideen Sie haben. Und wir tun unser Bestes, Sie hier mit Akarom, vielleicht mit Herrn Zambo und anderen Verbänden oder Marktführern oder Akteuren Sie zu verbinden. Das ist auf jeden Fall möglich.
Ja. Then we shall come to a close. George Mentzelopoulos, Managing Director of ETEM-Gestamp, thank you very much for participating. Lubo Stanislavov, Automotive Cluster Bulgaria, thank you for joining us. A short switch to...
Thank you also. Feel free at any time if you need something from our side, if you need any additional info or in general to be in contact. I'm always available.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you from my side also. Thank you.
And Romania, AC Bukarest.
Dankeschön fürs Einschalten, danke für die Teilnahme und wie gesagt, schreiben Sie uns und thanks a lot, Mr. Sander, for joining us and taking the time. Whatever questions you have, write to us and we'll try to do our best to connect you with the business partners or other partners that you would need. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sie haben die Möglichkeit, uns Ihre Fragen auch noch zu schicken oder wenn Sie einen Teil des Webinars nicht gesehen haben, senden wir Ihnen gerne den Link zu und die Präsentationen. Wir freuen uns auf Ihre Fragen und auf Ihr Interesse und betreuen Sie gerne weiter. Auf Wiederhören.